I don't want you to take my course. I'm going to be teaching a screenwriting class starting in September. And if you're interested in screenwriting, don't take my class. I'm not saying that you wouldn't benefit from taking my class, but here's the thing. If you're interested in screenwriting, you'll learn a lot. But if you're not willing to write, if you're not actually going to write, I don't know that it's worth your time. I'm going to teach the same class, regardless, because there are going to be other people that register for the class. But I don't know that it's worth your effort. I don't know that it's worth your money. I don't know that it's worth your time if you're not going to write. It sounds silly, maybe, that people would sign up for a screenwriting class and not write. And yet every quarter I teach this screenwriting class pretty much for George Brown College here in Toronto. And there's at least one or two students who don't write. Maybe I've discouraged them, maybe my teaching has intimidated them, but I would argue if they're not writing, they weren't going to write anyways. A lot of people want to have written, but it's amazing how many people can't make themselves write. I don't care about your grades. And it's a continuing ed class, so I don't know that it's necessary for you to worry about your grades. I try to encourage people as best I can, always, to fail, to experiment, to try things. And I'm always going to work with you on the story you want to create, as opposed to what I think you should do, because it's not important what I think you should do. What's important is what you want to do, what you're going to try to do. We're all going to write badly. That's just par for the course. We're all going to experiment. We're all going to fail in a lot of cases. There's nothing wrong with that, right? The first draft is often called the vomit draft, simply because it's about getting the words out onto paper and then making them better. But if you don't want to write, if you're not willing to write, actually is probably the better way of saying that. If you're not willing to write, if you're not going to write, save your money. And truth be told, for anybody, even if you are willing to write, you don't need my permission, you don't need a course instructor's permission to write. You can just write. We know stories. We've been told stories our entire life. Whether it was family reading us stories when we were kids, the movies we go to see, the TV shows we watch, just the conversations we have with friends, the things we tell ourselves. Those are all stories. Is there an art to telling stories? Only in the sense that stories can, when they're formalized, can always be more evocative, more interesting. But you don't need any of the teachings. I'm not going to give you a shortcut in this class. I'm not giving anybody a shortcut because there are no shortcuts. There's only your way of doing it, your journey through storytelling. My job is to give you things to think about, to see things in your writing that maybe you don't see yet. Don't worry about the destination. That'll come eventually. The class is all about, have you considered? The class is all about, oh, this was something interesting somebody else did. Or in some cases, here's something interesting that happened to me. And eventually we'll find out from your classmates, the other people that are signed up for the class, interesting things that have happened to them as they've explored storytelling. In some cases, this is the first time people have put words to paper in a semi-formal sense. We're all learning. I've been doing this a while, and I'm still learning, because what it is to tell stories is constantly evolving. But honestly, not for me, but for you, if you're not going to write, don't take my class. Nothing personal, and I wish you well. I hope you figure out what will get you writing. I hope you figure out what will help you tell stories. I'm standing here in the park near where I live, and I was over at the garden you can see in the background there. Lovely flower garden. And I was watching monarch butterflies. And I always marvel in nature that wild animals, critters, whatever you want to call them, They're not aiming to be anything. They just are what they are. Best I know, they're content at being, in the case of the monarchs, butterflies. They don't worry about a grand meaning for themselves. And that's what I'm trying to encourage my students to do, is simply be themselves and find out what that means. Not worry about where projects are going to go. Not worry about getting a movie made, because we are way away from that. Simply exploring a story. Running into walls at high speed, not literally, and failing spectacularly. Not being afraid to make mistakes, because everything is just a lesson. If you want to write, if you are willing to write, I of course welcome you to take my class, to take any class. But honestly, save your time, save your effort, save your money, save your energy if you're not willing to write. Save it for later, when you are willing to write, when the desire to tell stories is so strong in you that you're willing to risk putting words on paper, to putting keystrokes into your laptop or your phone or whatever vehicle you're using to tell your story. If you want to tell a story, it will come. It will happen for you. That's just how we're built. I mean, everybody tells stories. Some of us are crazy enough to decide to put it out on paper for other people to look at and give their opinions on it. You'll find your way. You'll find your path. And if it's not through my class, fine. I welcome you to find it however you find it. But don't feel you need to join a class to validate whether you're good or not. It's not what it's about. It's about the actual writing, the telling of the story. Good comes later. Good comes with experience. And it's never good or bad. It's always just better than it was. It's the process, my friends. I'll leave information about the class, should you decide you're actually willing to write, somewhere around this post. And I look forward to seeing you. And if I don't, I wish you all the best, regardless whether I see you in my class or not. I hope you find your way. Please feel free to like this video, to share it, subscribe to the series if you haven't already, and thank you if you have. Thank you just for watching this video. And always, you are welcome to leave a comment about your experiences, your desires, your fears, whatever you're comfortable with sharing. All the best to everybody. Take care.